Rupp, I watched some of the draft lottery the other night. Was it 2 nights ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
First off, okay. Okay, with the lottery. So how many teams get put in the lottery? Do you know?
So the 16 teams that don't make the playoffs. So 16 in, 16 out, and then they changed the rules a little bit because they changed it for various reasons. They don't want tanking to happen, so they didn't just make it a few years back. Like they didn't make it where if you had the worst record, you automatically got the first pick. No, we're gonna have the lottery process, right? And also, the New York Rangers a few years ago, were a pretty good team, well on their way in their rebuild, and they won the draft lottery because the old 16 that didn't make it were all in the draft lottery. Now they're like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong here. I think there's 12 teams that are in, maybe even less than that are actually in the lottery, but the maximum, so that'd be 11 teams that are in the lottery. The maximum amount of spaces to move forward is 10. Right. So then where you finish is where your percentage is. So it'll go anywhere from, whatever it is. It's like 20% to, 15% and so on and so forth. And then some teams will have 1.5% chance of winning that first overall pick. But a huge thing. I think a lot of teams did not actually position themselves as far as tanking like we thought they would. But the Chicago Blackhawks are going to get a really special
Was there ever a doubt? Was there ever? It's Connor Bedard. You're right. It seems like he was the consensus number one. It came down at the end between Chicago and Anaheim. And what's weird is they don't do like the grab the ball out of the spinny thing like the NBA does. They already had the pick. Yeah. They already knew it, and they just present us on TV of who the pick is. So how do we trust who that is, and how do they make that happen?
Well, a lot of people don't trust it. And a lot of people, the conspiracy theories come out. So we had a few years back where they were actually giving the footage and doing the footage live of the ping pong balls. And then, one of them was like dropped on the floor and then put back, it threw everybody for a fucking tizzy. Oh, here we go. They greased up that ball or they did something, it just becomes this total side story of a conspiracy theory. So, they started doing this. They have an outside party, a third party, this lottery firm that comes in and does this thing. So it's done legit, right? That's what these people do.
Okay.
There was a little bit of a misread. There's a little bit of a mishap in production the other day. And then all of a sudden, everyone just starts going, oh, this is set up. The league wanted Chicago to win it. It's kind of crazy, that whole process. But,
I don't know.
Hey, I heard those. I heard those Canadian accents earlier. Those are pretty.
What do you think of that, Rupper? Would Canadian hockey players in the locker room, would they be upset at all the Canadian accents being thrown around this stage?
No, not at all. I think they're proud of it. I have a funny story.
Please.
I have a funny story with a fellow Canadian, and God rest his soul, Steve Monador. A former teammate of mine. He passed away a number of years ago. Great teammate. I played with him in juniors, and I remember we were playing. So in junior hockey, the maximum age you can be is 20 years old, right? And that's like the equivalent of college basketball or college football. Like you can get drafted from college in hockey, or you can drafted pretty much, junior hockey or whatever. So we're playing in Erie, Pennsylvania for the Erie Otters of the Ontario Hockey League. And that's the league in Canada, right? So we're only one of the only two American cities. And so everyone in, a lot of these guys on the team that are 19, they could drink. They could drink up in Canada and Ontario because they're 19 years old, and that was the drinking age.
Windsor.
But in Erie, like if we traded for a guy, he came to Erie to play, it's 21 because you're in the States now, right?
Yeah.
So we found a spot where we can get in and we can go and we can drink on the weekends or on our off days. And so we are there. And I remember this one time we're at the bar, and Steve Monador was like, he was hilarious. But when he, he's one of those guys, when he drinks, he gets like very focused, and he'll just like, he gets this intense stare, and he just kind of like stumbling around like, dude, Mons, you got to chill out, dude. He looks like he's going to either fight somebody or he's like just scanning the whole whatever.
Those are scary.
Bobby Carter.
Anyways, so
Bob's dancing.
These guys are sitting there. These guys at the bar, they're sitting by us, and they're all Canadians. There's probably one or two Americans there. And these guys start fucking making fun of how everybody's talking. So these guys are just, they're drunk. It's closing time pretty much at the bar. And these guys are like real loud. It's a nice day, eh? oh, what are you doing tomorrow, eh? Like, and talking like they're making fun of Canadians. So we're sitting there, and Steve Monador turns to me, he goes, you hear these fucking guys? I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever, dude. Let's just go. Like, whatever. It's the end of the night. So we have going outside, and these guys are following us outside now, and they're like, oh, what are you doing now, eh? And so Steve Monador turns around and just hammer drunk. He goes, I'll give you 10 seconds to apologize to me and my country, and beats on his chest. And I'm like, what? What the fuck was that? Next thing you know, he starts this brawl in the bar, and these Canadian hockey players all just jump in there and start this big melee because they felt like their country was offended. They're proud citizens up there in Canada, and they're intense about making fun of anything, especially the way they talk. But I think they're used to it. But man, it's a different it's different slang. You guys called me out on it last week when I was in, saying I sounded Canadian. I didn't know I did.
I mean, first off, whoever these guys are that followed the professional hockey players outside and continued, are they the dumbest humans alive? Like they I'm sure they got pounded. That's I don't.
Oh, like, got pounded.
Yeah, like it doesn't take much awareness to glance at you guys. Like, yeah, we should just back off right now. And if he told you to apologize, that guy probably should have turned and sprinted as fast as he possibly could. Rupper's got a light situation on. There we go.